Hey guys, welcome back to our question of the week. And this week's question, this is Ike.
Hey.
That's not a question, that's an answer. That's
It
a
always
statement.
is an answer. Yeah.
Ike is the answer.
Yep.
This week's question we wanted to talk about, why is it so easy to drift away from God? I think it's a really good question.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing comes from just the image that it comes from. The idea of drifting is kind of this idea of a boat being on a shore that just kind of drifts away. It's not being rowed away. And so drifting is something that's done very passively. It's not something you actively do. It just kind of happens and you realize, oh, I'm 30 feet from the shore, that kind of thing. And so I think when it comes to our relationship with God, sometimes we drift away simply because there's other things that are demanding our attention. We're distracted by other things that are sort of right in front of us. And rather than saying, okay, I'm going to step away from God at this time, it just kind of happens as a result of just not being so intentional about, sticking to that relationship.
Yeah, and I think it's something that all of us, no matter what level of our faith, no matter how long we've been a Christian, it's something that we all have to consciously struggle against. Just because of how gradual it can happen, and then one day you turn around and you look and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I cussed that often, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so for me, what's been a good way is to periodically, whether that's once a month, whether that's once a quarter, whatever that might be, but to just sit down and take stock of where you feel like you are. Take stock of how much have I invested into my relationship with God? How much have I changed in terms of the things that I am consuming in media, or the things that I'm doing with my free time? What are the things that have changed about me over the last month, and what can I do to kind of get back to that? And because it is a passive thing, and it's something that we don't realize is happening until much later, when a problem comes up because of it.
Yeah, and I think too, part of it too is that God is not this God that's going to manipulate you into doing things or require things of you. He obviously wants to be in a relationship with you and be close to you, but He's not this God that's going to force things on us. And so it's one of those things where when we're intentional about being close to Him, He's going to invite that and encourage that and respond to that. But really is not going to force things on us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think community is also another good way to kind of avoid the drift, right? If you have one or two other people that you trust, that you really spend time with, that you say, hey, it's cool if you call me out on things that I'm doing, or things that have changed about me, or you have a different perspective on me than I do. I think that's a very important thing, and that's why another reason why we talk about how important community is a lot of times. Is that can help you in that drift, and then you don't get so far down the road where you're like, oh man, how do I even get back to where I was, because I've drifted so far without any sort of somebody watching or being a part of that with me. And so
yeah, and that's the other key there, is kind of thinking, well, I've drifted this far. Does it matter if I just keep drifting? And on top of that, thinking, oh man, it's going to take so much to get back. And so that's kind of what we're talking about. This past Sunday we talked about a little bit. It's we think it's a lot of work to get back to God, but God's just waiting for us.
Absolutely. Man, I think this is a great conversation, and I think that it's something that for you as a high school student, or even you as a parent, or you as somebody, it's just a good practice to get into, of having someone to hold you accountable, having someone to be able to be there for you when and can call you out and call you to the carpet on different things. And so I'd really encourage you to talk about this with your leaders, talk about this with somebody, leave comments in the video, whatever that might be, to find that person that can help you with the drift. And once again, questions of the week.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ike.
Thank you.
Peace.